During the Clone Wars, the Confederacy of Independent Systems deployed a massive droid army against the Republic. Often, army detachments were commanded by organic officers, but due to the scale of the war, these weren't always available, and in those cases, command fell to droid officers. But battle droid commanders weren't terribly intelligent, leading to the introduction of tactical droids, which were much more competent and effective. But tactical droids also had weaknesses, most notably their incredible arrogance, leading to the introduction of new models later in the war, super tactical droids. These hulking droid commanders were not only extremely intelligent, but they were more effective than many organic commanders, and they were often given high ranks in the CIS military. In this video, we'll be taking a look at this underrated and undeniably cool droid model.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
The original tactical droids, to their credit, were quite intelligent. They were good at strategy and probability, and they lacked the shortcomings of the standard OOM series battle droid commanders. They're about as competent as your average commissioned officer, and they could support organic officers as well, acting as aides and strategic assistants for the likes of Wat Tambor, Admiral Trench, and General Grievous. They were constantly running calculations and simulations with their highly advanced data processing models, adjusting their plans on the fly as they believed the odds dictated. But they were far from perfect. Tactical droids' tactics weren't foolproof. They had difficulty accounting for Jedi or irrational action on the part of their enemies. Unorthodox tactics, especially ones that involved tactical sacrifices or Jedi involvement, could flummox them fairly easily. But the tactical droids also had a flaw in their personalities. They were insufferably arrogant. Believing themselves to be superior to their droid nature, some had a near total inability to recognize flaws in their tactics. They also had a dislike for taking orders from meatbags, especially when those meatbags made command decisions that conflicted with what they calculated was the best course of action. On several occasions, tactical droids betrayed or even assassinated their organic commanders out of frustration over their seemingly irrational command decisions. Sometimes, this was beneficial to the Confederacy. In the first Battle of Plagan, a tactical droid that shot his commander and threw out his battle plan led Separatist forces to victory against the odds. Most of the time, however, these betrayals cost the Confederacy dearly. Wat Tambor, a leading member of the Separatist Council, was captured by the Republic after his tactical droid left him for dead on Ryloth, and the Republic won the Third Battle of Ifao because a tactical droid's assassination of his commander started a firefight in the Separatist command bunker. Tactical droids were nonetheless effective, and they saw use until the end of the Clone Wars, but their manufacturer, Bactoid Combat Automata, believed that improvements could be made. Thus, halfway through the war, they came out with a new model, the Super Tactical Droid, officially known as the ST Series Military Strategic Analysis and Tactics Droid in canon. The chassis of the Super Tactical Droid was an improvement over that of its predecessor, boasting heavier armor and greater physical strength and agility. It resembled the chassis of the standard tactical droid with a box-like abdominal section and bulbous limbs, but it had a sleeker design, which was presumably more efficient. The droid's head took a different shape, retaining only a hint of its predecessor's distinctive visor, and for reasons unknown, the Super Tactical Droid had 3 eyes instead of 2. Super Tactical Droids weren't intended to serve in combat. However, as many tactical droids had invariably found themselves in direct danger, their successors were designed to be able to hold their own should the need arise. On top of their improved durability, strength, and especially agility, the Super Tactical Droid could fight both at range and in hand-to-hand combat. Like most Separatist droids, they favored E5 blaster rifles, but some Super Tactical Droids were shown to be pretty good with their fists too. The one known as Kraken once picked a fight with Anakin Skywalker and even landed a few good hits before he lost his hands to Skywalker's lightsaber. The more important improvements to the tactical droid were in how they were programmed, however. Super Tactical Droids were several orders of magnitude more intelligent than standard tactical droids, and they were much more adaptable. Like their predecessors, They were constantly running calculations and simulations, but they didn't base their decisions solely on mathematics. They took intuitive leaps and accounted for irrationalities and Jedi nonsense better than their predecessors, allowing them to anticipate and counter even the most unorthodox of strategies. They were more intelligent and more competent than most organic commanders, and even the Jedi saw these droids as a genuine threat. Super tactical droids were cunning commanders in virtually any field, able to lead Separatist forces to victory in virtually any theater. They were better at picking up on and countering the kinds of stunts that the Jedi often tried to pull, and they were trusted enough by Separatist leadership that some were assigned overall command of major battles. Perhaps their most valuable asset, though, is that they could think like organics. They weren't only capable of predicting the decisions of organic commanders, but they could understand the thought processes behind those decisions, which is what made them such cunning opponents. In some cases, super tactical droids served as aides and strategic advisors for the Confederacy's very highest ranking officers, such as Admiral Trench, General Grievous, or Count Dooku. Most of the time, however, they worked alone, reporting only to Dooku and Grievous themselves. Super tactical droids were afforded high ranks, with General being a common one, meaning that they outranked the majority of the Confederacy's organic officers. Some commanded huge droid armies, while others were given control of parts of the Confederate Navy. Some, such as General Kalani, had authority over both. Super tactical droids were highly individualized. Like their predecessors, each unit differed in terms of voice, program gender, and paint scheme, but many super tactical droids went a step further, going by names instead of identifying numbers. They developed unique personalities and command styles, and overall, they were the most organic-like droids in the droid army, on top of being the highest ranking. Legends gives us 5 super tactical droid characters, most of them from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. 2 which shared the same paint job, Alt-O and another that went unnamed, were naval commanders and major players in the Confederacy's planned attack on Republic Strategic Conference above Karita. Both of these super tactical droids were destroyed during this operation. Alt-O was killed by D Squad aboard his flagship, while the other was blown up above Karita. 2 others acted as strategic aides for the Confederacy's top military leaders. One, named Kraken, served Admiral Trench and later Count Dooku, while the other, Teizuka, acted as a lieutenant for General Grievous. Teizuka was destroyed by Darth Maul above Ord Mantell, while Kraken was destroyed by Anakin Skywalker during the Battle of Ringo Vinda, though he was rebuilt in time for the Battle of Scipio. The final super tactical droid in Legends is undoubtedly the coolest of them all. General Kalani, a formidable officer in his own right, who commanded a droid army to support King Rash on Onderon and had the coolest voice of any Star Wars character, bar none.
Do not underestimate our means. If the rebel army falls, the citizens will lose their courage, and order will be restored.
Canon stories provide us with additional examples of noteworthy super tactical droids. Many of these go unnamed, such as a General Kalani lookalike who serves as an aide to General Grievous before being destroyed above Utapau, or a super tactical droid that commands Separatist forces on Melagoni. Despite the rebuilding of Kraken, by the time of the Battle of Anaxes, Trench has a different super tactical droid acting as his aide, and this droid is also killed by Anakin Skywalker shortly before Trench's own death. Other super tactical droids, like General Kalani, act as commanders in their own right. There's one on Yerbana that's destroyed by Anakin Skywalker in a flagrant violation of the Yavin Code, and in canon, Separatist forces fighting in the Battle of Kashyyyk were commanded by super tactical droid General Lin Wodo, a super tactical droid acting on orders from General Grievous. General Lin Wodo also participated in major battles on Metalorn and Bos Pity, defending those key Separatist strongholds during the Outer Rim sieges. All told, super tactical droids were probably among the most effective strategic planning droids ever developed. But what really matters about them, in our opinion, is that they had really cool voices. But what do you think? Which super tactical droid do you think had the best paint job, since we all know Kalani had the best voice? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section below, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching. and I hope to see you in the next video.